This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, look at me. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Get your feet off the table. What the heck do you think you're doing, young man? Welcome to one of those things that these kids are calling, I don't know, what the hell they call it, a pondcast or something.
No, it's podcast.
Don't you talk back to me, young man. Welcome to a show about parenting.
You're in so much trouble, Ryder.
Parents and non-parents. I'm in so much trouble right now. Featuring Linda Brown.
That's me.
And Lisa Arch.
Hi.
I'm Jamie Alcroft. And here's your hostess with the mostest, Louise Palanker. Wheezy.
Thank you, Jamie. No back talk. Today's show is all about parenting in the digital age. Jamie raised 3 strapping kids who have all accepted his Facebook request.
Yes.
So
Wow.
that qualifies him as an expert on parenting in the digital age. And
I guess.
I mean,
kids don't have Facebook.
hashtag goals. So, we're here with parenting coach Katherine Saltzberg, Coach K.
Coach K.
Can you click on her website, please, young gentleman in the booth?
Oh, thank you for doing that.
It's www.icoachmoms.com. There she is.
Photo.
And
Thank you.
this is Coach K's call to action, which you will find on her internet website. It reads, "You're a busy mom." I love that. Like action items. You're a busy mom. You're stressed and anxious. Your kids won't do anything you tell them to do without a struggle. You and your spouse have more fights over the kids than anything else. You have really great kids, but no idea that parenting was going to be this tough. I can help you reclaim the joy of parenting. And there's an online testimonial. Would you like to read the online testimonial, Linda Brown?
First of all, I didn't know there was supposed to be joy in parenting. When did that happen?
After this show, yeah.
Okay, here's my testament. Wow.
No. This is from this comes in from Jody from Encino, California. But she wrote the following
Okay, she wrote, wow.
about Coach K.
Here is a woman who really knows what I'm going through as a parent. She totally gets it and puts it in perspective. I've been doing it all wrong. No wonder my kids are ruining my life. Okay.
That needs a wah-wah, right?
Okay, now I've got to show my kids who's really in control, and no, it's not my bossy 8-year-old, it's me.
Wow. Jody from
Wait, I'm
Encino.
not finished.
Oh, is there more?
And I'm going to be in charge from now on.
Jody keeps
I
on.
will not buy them that toy.
Quiet, Jody. We get it.
Yeah,
I
you
will
need
not
to
buy them
teach
that
mom's
toy.
brevity.
Please don't let me cave in and buy him that toy.
Oh, that's
buy
cute.
him
She
the
bought
toy.
the toy.
But, all right. So Kate, how many parents are getting it all wrong? How many Jodys have we got out there?
I don't, it's not they're getting everything wrong. It's small things, and the small things add up. For example, when you don't want to tell your kids to do something, instead, for example, here's one that a lot of moms are doing with younger kids. I want you to put all your toys away right now, okay? So that's a request.
It seems optional with the okay.
That's right.
Okay.
So little things, and another example would be giving your kids a reason. When you have a small kid, you don't always have to explain yourself and give them a reason because it invites argument. So these are little tiny things that add up. So it's not they're getting it all wrong. They're getting the empathy part perfectly.
Oh, okay.
But-
A lot of empathy.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
A lot of empathy.
But if you answer with "because I said so" every time, doesn't that instill in the kid the sense that their parent is a dictator? And
Doesn't it? Oh my gosh.
But I mean, explain that to me.
Because you know what? That is the kind of the problem, because we
Right.
have this idea that telling a child "because I said so" is psychologically damaging. Right. We've been told that by parenting experts since the late 60s, early 70s, that's damaging. Well, I got to tell you something. If most of the time, it's more damaging to be the mother that is explaining herself and then screaming. A kid is actually relieved of the burden of having to.
Have you been watching me?
No, but I have.
But you can give
Let's
it.
roll
Really
that
creeped
video.
out right now. I'm really creeped out.
As a matter of fact, let's roll the video right now.
But Jamie, I appreciate what you're saying. You don't have to tell. By the way, you don't have to tell a kid "because I said so." You can say because I'm your mom, because I don't think that's the best thing for you to be doing. You can give a reason, but you can't reason with a 6-year-old, and there is the difference.
So you can say because it's the right thing to do, but then you're trying to reason with a 6-year-old, and
Well, you can say because knives are sharp and you're going to cut daddy's head off.
But why are you
Right.
trying to, when you say because it's the right thing to do, why is that trying to reason?
Went there.
But why, I mean, I'm asking you, why
you're
is
just
that?
you're making a statement.
You're making a statement, but a lot of times, I used to explain everything to my kid, and I realized, oh, the poor guy's exhausted. He's 4.
I did that exact same
You
thing.
know?
Yeah.
Well, my kids, I was very reasonable with them, and they were very reasonable with me. I mean, they took everything I told them, pretty well. And being a comedian, I think they may have taken it with a grain of salt, maybe. But I remember we were going through a tough time. I wasn't getting as many gigs as I wanted to, and I called the 3 of them into the room, and I told them, I said, things are going to be a little different here at Christmas, and things are going to be different around the house, and we're not going to be going out for dinner as much as we're just going to have to tighten our belts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to let one of you go. And they took it really well.
Was it based on
Nice.
performance?
No,
I
they
use
just
that?
they drew straws. They drew straws. They were sippy straws. So they had fun. We made it fun.
You made it fun and
I made it
exciting.
fun.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Family
It was a
project.
strawberry sippy flavor.
Well,
The whole thing.
joining us is series regular, and by series regular, I mean this series. TIFO.
Yes.
Series regular, Lisa Arch. She is an actor. She is the mom of 11-year-old Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay. She is our good friend, and she is searchable on Google,
I am.
gentlemen. According to Google,
Oh my God,
there you
look
go.
at me.
And
According
certain
to-
YouTube
Oh, that's
sites.
great.
According to Google, Lisa Arch is an American comedian and actress known for her roles in the 1997 to 98 season of the Fox Network comedy show Mad TV as co-host of
that show.
TBS's Dinner and a movie from 2002 to 2005, and as the recurring character of Samantha Samuels. See, now you know who you go to Little League with.
Yeah,
Love
look at
that.
that.
You and I actually probably were in the same room before we even knew each other.
Oh,
now,
that's
yes, I was
funny.
always down at dinner in a movie.
You were?
Yes.
All right, we'll have
This
to
is
discuss
happening
that.
right here.
That's bizarre.
I'm
I
excited.
know.
I know
many,
what it
many,
is. My
many
friend
clients.
And Disney's Corey in the house, and Linda Brown is here from.
And I was serving dinner.
That's right.
What a
It is
coincidence.
a
Something that's not
coincidence.
So that
happening
you
here
could
tonight.
maybe,
My first job.
Yeah, can I
hashtag
just- can I-
goals, rehire one of your kids.
Can I update my resume a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, dinner and a movie.
I mean, that's been off there for. I've been off the air on dinner and movie for 15 years.
She
when
was
I got
once
canned,
known
I got
for-
fired like Jamie's kid.
And now she has 7 children.
No, I did Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's right.
Since
That's
then,
right.
which may or may not be coming up on season 10. I did a show called 100 Things to Do Before High School on Nickelodeon.
You did
Dinner
it.
and a movie,
She
I
did-
feel like, was the
She did a
biggest.
game show where she would
yeah.
go into a room where a woman was pushing a person out of her vagina.
Yeah.
And she would say, "Who wants to play a game for cash and prizes?"
Labor Games.
The labor games.
So, yeah,
Did
I
anyone
just
ever
wanted to
throw
update.
anything at you?
No, they were all so nice and so happy to be on the show, and all of them collectively, because I would always go back and meet their babies. All
Oh,
of them
isn't
said
that
it made it so
exciting.
much more fun.
Aww.
Yeah.
Cash and prizes usually
Everybody
does.
should have a game show at their birthing then.
Right? It's true.
Both Linda and Lisa are parents of young boys.
Yes.
Linda's son Alessandro
friends.
is 10. They are friends, and
they're
her daughter
friends.
Annabella is 16. Our producer Dina Friedman has an 8. How old is Ryder? He's 8-year-old. I was just guessing at these kids' ages. So yeah. So Linda wrote to me. She said, "My son is not 11."
good.
I'm like, "Okay."
My son is
You're good. You used to work at the county fair.
Yeah.
Guessing ages.
I can't guess their weight though. Honestly.
No.
So Ryder is here, and Jamie is the proud parent of 3 grown-up people: Elise, Haley, and Thatcher. And you guys all have questions for Coach K, right? So we're going to start with Linda
Oh,
because
God.
she did her homework, and Lisa wrote and said, "I'm very busy this week."
Yeah, she,
It was a.
So-
she
hey,
said that to me.
my
For-
mom had pneumonia, and I was
Yeah, with
taking
the
care of
mother.
her.
Oh, this
It's no
mother.
excuse.
I love you, mommy.
Always thinks
Oh, get
excuse.
well.
Is she listening? Hi, mommy.
Okay.
She likes me
anything
better
I
than
do.
you,
She's
by the
busy
way.
watching reruns of Corey in the House. Okay.
Right.
Lisa, you and I should start our own show.
Okay.
We'll do
Sorry,
that.
Weez.
Notice they just squeezed me right out.
Yeah.
Like it's like you
gonna
like
start
step
at 5
back
on
Just
Tuesday.
step back. All right. So Linda had a question about sports aggressive parents.
No, I'm over it.
Okay.
Okay,
Well then.
so I had a parent literally tell me, I can't bang on this, literally say to me, we were talking about baseball. We were standing at Notre Dame. They were doing some benefit or something. And a parent literally said to me, so, you have kids obviously here. I said, yeah, my daughter goes to Notre Dame. My son, plays baseball, whatever. And he says, do you want him to go to Notre Dame? And I said, yeah, that'd be nice, whatever. I don't know. And he says, because if he does, he better be playing baseball 24/7. He better be on it right now. He better be on a travel ball team. He better be on All-Star. Like, he should be the best in his team at this point, but he's 10 already, so I don't know. Like,
Wow.
are you kidding me? I thought I was being punked.
Wow.
But there are parents, and you sort of go, oh, okay. And I went home, and I'm like, what a jerk. And then I started thinking on the way home,
Is
what
he
do I do?
right?
Should I get him like a coach? Should I? Right? I signed him up for that clinic, Lisa. That was
No,
my
I
knee-jerk
know.
reaction. I was like, he needs to get in on the clinic.
Now, this was it to get a scholarship, or is he already playing and it's to get on the team there? I mean, I need a little.
No, that. Why was he there at Notre Dame?
No,
it was
no.
a fundraiser.
It was a fundraiser, and the parent was just saying for him to get to. Okay, you should do exactly what the parent says to do. Okay, no, I'm just.
I knew it.
Oh, is that what's called parental advice?
Oh my God!
Just
It's costing me a
okay.
fortune.
You know what? The traveling teams, they're
Yeah.
well. This a lot
It's a
of
business.
it's. You know something? It's one thing if your child. First of all, it used to be called child's play. It's not child's play anymore.
No.
And I want to give credit to where it's really due. John Rosemond, parenting expert, talks a lot about this. And it used to be that kids would be just getting together playing ball, and parents will say, it's really about that they all get a chance to play. It's not about winning, but that's not true.
Right.
And you know that and the reason it's not true is because who do they put up when there's it's the ninth inning? They don't care if they want the best kid up there. It's like, we're really sorry, Hunter. You kind of suck and you're not going to be playing. And so it's not about that, but really this thing is a big problem. And the parental anxiety is the problem. Parents bring all their history with them, their current anxiety, push it on the kids, and the kids pick up on all that stuff, and it's just not fun for them
for
anymore.
somebody to say,
Yeah.
if he's not already at a certain level at the age of 10,
Then forget it.
then you're sort of like cross your fingers and And I think I said to him, I think the whole problem stems from colleges being so expensive because parents are like, you have to get a scholarship. If colleges were
right.
free, I don't think any
I
of
don't
this would
think
be
that's
happening.
the problem. Honestly, I don't think that's the problem. I think that
It's
that, and you were talking about like nervous parents or parental. What was the term you used?
Their anxiety. I mean,
Anxiety is like she's not coming to the table with it. It's being inflicted upon her by a fellow parent. And
Yeah.
so there's this peer pressure. And it's not just because, you can say to a kid, hey, if you practice basketball, you may get a free ride to college. That's just the reason they give that make like a Miss America, like you're going to get a scholarship.
right.
Like that's what that's about.
Yeah.
Come on. It's because parents love watching their kid win. This is fun for the parents. The kids are little gladiators, and the parents are sitting in the stands manipulating their chess pieces and getting bragging rights. That's what this is about.
That's correct.
Right, and the parents put the kids on the fast track. Now, I want to differentiate here because I have a successful daughter, and my wife has been around a lot.
She
Of,
sucks at
There
baseball,
we go.
Jamie.
a lot of successful. Well, my wife's been around a lot of successful Olympians and so forth. And if the kid doesn't put themselves on the fast track, they're just not going to do it. So there's nothing that a parent can do, say, or drive them to, or push them into that can make the kid successful. The kid has to make themselves successful. And my wife has always said, whether she's choreographed Scott Hamilton and Dorothy Hamill and Ty and Randy and Michelle Kwan, and she's done all of their careers. And she knows that they have a steel plate in their head that just says success. And it's got to be in the kid's head. My daughter, Haley, she's in Rolling Stone. She's being interviewed at GQ because she had that plate in her head.
She has
When
this
I've
fire in her. And so what Jamie is saying is like, if Alessandro doesn't have this baseball fire inside of him, then figure out what else he would like to do so that it would be kind of a gift to you if he didn't. Because this
have him
sounds
find the fire.
terrifying.
I think what it is I sit there and say, am I doing him a disservice? Because what I said to the father was, he plays whatever sports in season and he loves them all. And so at this point, he's gravitating towards basketball. He likes baseball a lot. Those are the two. But he's still doing soccer. So And he was like, well, no. At 10, they need to decide which way they're going to go. And that's
I
it.
so
I'm like,
agree.
I'm doing a disservice to my
I
kid.
so agree with what Jamie just said.
Yeah.
That
Oh my gosh.
until it's their passion, it doesn't
Until it's
matter
their
what you
passion.
push
Yeah,
them
there's
to
nothing.
do.
Yeah, there's nothing you could even like to feel like to take the guilt off yourself. There's nothing you could do to motivate a child to be operating at that level of
And-
excellence when it's not coming from inside of them.
And as a matter of fact, I think what you're doing, Linda, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach K, but you won't because I'm never. But what I think
She might,
you're
but it doesn't
doing,
matter. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the point.
It won't
no,
matter.
but I think what you're doing is right because you're letting him experience everything.
If he
and
wants
so
to be
far,
a-
none of it's
Yeah.
making him
Yeah.
like spark
Let him-
maybe 100%, but maybe that's going to be acting, maybe that's going to be writing, maybe it's going to be history, or you know what I mean?
Maybe he wants to be a well-rounded child.
Yeah, a Renaissance
How
person.
dare you?
I don't know if we should let him, but that's
A
his fire.
Renaissance person.
But is that right?
yeah.
Would you say you just
What if
let
he's
your
good
kid
at
keep
all of
trying
them?
stuff? And
You
and-
said it exactly right. This
Oh,
is
I
a
knew it.
time
Knew
of
it.
this is a time of exploring, and you said you recognize, you pay attention to your child.
Right.
Yeah.
You put your agenda aside, and this other parent, just stay as far away from them as
Well,
humanly
that's a
possible.
person who's
tell you-
extremely
they tell
insecure
you.
about
Lisa,
their
tell
own
your husband to
decisions.
stay away from me.
But you know what? You know, look,
A restraining order.
So what I want to know
Yeah.
is how
Yes.
much. So from what you've perceived, Coach K,
yes.
or experienced or witnessed, how much is social media aggravating these bragging rights that we're discussing?
Well, I mean, it's huge. We have, what is it? I don't know. I'm not a statistic. I can barely hold that stuff in my brain for long. So, but I guess when you ask kids today of a certain age, their goal is to be YouTube stars. And so if we want to raise a generation of narcissists, let's just keep going in that direction.
But what about the parental bragging rights of saying my kid pitched
Yeah.
a no-hitter, something or other?
I mean,
That's what you say in baseball.
Well, it's not only that. My niece just graduated high school, and since March, all of her friends and schoolmates, they all have been posting the colleges they got into.
Aw.
Right.
And it's adorable unless you didn't get into the
Your
college you
college.
didn't want to get into,
you
or you didn't get into college, or your family can't afford to, you know what I mean? So there's where it used to be, you would say to your friends, hey, I got into UCLA. What about you? Well, I got into UC Irvine, or whatever it is.
Right.
Now it's like this huge thing. You're
Telling the
posting on
world.
Instagram. The kids are they're at her graduation, all of them had on their mortar boards the design of the college they were going to. So it's
And
there's
then-
like a
and then
sense
how
of
much money their
shame.
parents had spent to get them
Absolutely.
into it.
Yeah.
But what if you want
And
to go
that
to
it's called a mortar board. How do you know that?
I don't know why I know that because I
College.
didn't finish college. I didn't finish college. But I do think there's an added pressure now because of social media, beyond an added pressure.
Yes.
Like, what if you want to go to Valley College for 2 years?
That would be great.
to
You would
get all your
save half.
credits. Please, Garrett, do this because it'll save us so much money.
It really does.
You
Yeah.
want so what? You're going to be embarrassed to post on, that I went to a junior college.
No, there's
I-
no embarrassment there.
No, but what I'm saying is, sure, there shouldn't be,
There shouldn't
Jamie,
be.
but there is,
Yeah, there
and
is.
there's something wrong with that. And there's this huge competitive thing, and it is with sports,
But-
and it is with everything, and even actors and stuff posting. And I'm not saying I don't do it, but it's I'm working this week. Look at me. Here's me on set.
But-
There's a sense of jealousy and shame that comes from all of that.
Only if you take it on.
Sure, but that's easier. It's easy to say don't take
Of
it
course,
on.
but
It's not easy
hard.
to do.
Look. In life, if you have control over something, then you should do something about it. If you have control over people's opinions, then you could do something about it. But if you have no control over something like that, I think you really have to let it go.
But
And
you're
you have to
speaking as a
move on
man
to-
who wasn't steeped in Instagram in your formidable years. And
in my
so am
formidable
I.
years.
Yes.
I was a maven on the Etch-a-Sketch. You should have seen me work that sucker.
Maven.
He had 2 followers.
But think about it.
Couldn't think of another.
He had etch and sketch.
An exemplary word. I had etch and sketch, 2 separate machines.
But I really do think, even people, who came to it as an adult in their 30s or whatever are affected by it. Imagine being born into that world.
and that's all you know.
That's all
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That's all you know.
And that's your currency. Like, that's how you measure up
It
So-
makes me sad.
Everyone's their own publicist.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk
That's
about
right.
college for a moment, and because Linda wrote, "I'm going crazy and feel like the wrong decision could ruin my daughter's life. How to best guide my child into this stage of her life and what she may want to do for a career. Like, how much of it is the parent's responsibility? Because a lot, like her life, that is definitely a signpost. That moment where she applies and then accepts, because from that moment she's going." She could have a great life if she goes in any of these 7 different directions, but it's a big decision that will inform a lot of the rest of what happens to her. So how much should Linda do to help with that process?
Where to go to college? Is that what you're saying? I mean, is that
Where to go? How to apply?
all
How
the-
much
is that
should
what you're
you
saying?
help her?
First of all, she vacillates between, I want to be an anesthesiologist or a DP.
She just wants to put people to sleep, and I don't know if
Well,
Like a
you know
mother.
something? If I might say something, Linda, she doesn't have experience at either.
No, I know.
Perhaps,
And where does it come from? I don't even know.
she's got to get experience being a DP.
Right.
She's got to put her to sleep a few times. Have her know what it's like to be anesthetized. No, I'm just saying. They don't know, and right now you're on the edge, and you're thinking, I got to get her into college. Maybe I shouldn't get her into college. Maybe I should push her. Maybe I shouldn't push her. But you know something? A year and a half, 2 years from now, things are going to change. My son went to community college, to Moore Park, and he studied philosophy. And he came to me and he said, Dad, I'm wasting, in the middle of his junior year, he said, I'm wasting your money. I'm a philosophy major and I don't know why. I should
that's an
know
existential
why.
question.
I should know why I'm a philosophy major. I said, well, pursue it. Be a philosopher, because there's not a day goes by I don't walk by a storefront with a sign in the window that says philosopher wanted. Apply within and within and
Well,
within.
the thing is, there's
and
all this
within
pressure
and
right now.
within.
You have to declare. You don't have to, but
have to.
for you to declare or at least apply to the college,
Yes.
stating a major,
Okay.
and that will be decided. Like your acceptance is decided on that.
Wait, you're saying
Yes.
that when you apply to
But-
colleges, you already are claiming what you want to do with your
yes,
life?
now you have.
That's how
Even
it is
though
now.
now more than ever, people are not one thing throughout their lifespan?
Yeah.
I want to hear some advice from Coach K.
Because you can
I do too.
apply.
I
Let's
do
say
too.
you want to be an accountant, but your grades aren't that big, that great. If you apply to the psychology department, you can get in and then transfer.
That's
Yep.
right. I know somebody who went into the international dance department at UCLA, got accepted. She would not have gotten accepted to any other department. But she
audition.
auditioned with
Yeah.
an international dance, got
Okay.
into that department, and then she went into business.
But that's the
something like
same
that.
as getting like a basketball scholarship.
It's
It's
just-
like, all right,
you can do
you're
anything.
good at
Yeah.
this,
You
and
can
you
do
got
anything.
into the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So now that you're there,
You can always change it.
But
You
what-
could also always leave that school and go to another school.
Right.
And
No
how do
decision
you
is
help them
permanent.
decide what they want to do? She
So-
doesn't even know.
but
There's so
should
many
they know
things.
at 16 what they want to do, Coach K?
No.
Okay.
I wish somebody
So-
would have
No.
told me.
Well, you turned out just fine.
That's
You
because
haven't
I'm
spent a lot
Linda
of time with
Brown.
her.
You know what I mean?
She's
She's
Linda Brown.
not.
Okay.
She's like
She gets to be
What-
Linda
let me
Brown. Her
a-
career is she's Linda
Brown's
Brown.
daughter.
Right. That's hard. That's hard to be.
No, you know what I mean. It's because it's for two very different reasons. We were raised very differently, my daughter and I. So, there are 6 gazillion things in this world to do, and no one talks about them until they go, "What do you want to do?" And then what are you supposed to sit down with a book and go, "Here are the many different."
No, but here's the thing, Linda Brown. Most of the things that there are to do, a 16-year-old doesn't know they exist.
That's what I'm saying.
This is why you get a liberal arts education, and then you shadow or you intern and you look at other people doing jobs and picture yourself doing it or not.
Right.
So even though she has to pick a colleges to apply to, I think it's a mistake to ask a 16-year-old to choose a career.
Agreed.
But what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I understand the anxiety, and all parents have this anxiety today in a way that they never have before. And we want to, with the snowplow parents, we want to pave the way, we want to get it right, and we're all anxious. My suggestion to you would be, do whatever you can to relax. Do you want your daughter, if I ask you, who do you want her to be when she's 30 years old in the world? The characteristics, who do you want her to be? Tell me, do you want her to be capable? Do you want her to what do you, when you think of, tell me some. Who do you want her to be?
Adjectives.
I
yeah,
want
adjectives.
her to be able to pay her bills.
Okay. Great. So,
That's a good
so you
one.
want her to be
I
you
mean-
want her to be capable. So
Not struggling.
so that's going to help you. So let's just go with that small piece, right? You want her to be able to pay her bills. So that means you want her to be resourceful, self-supporting, perhaps, right? And to know that she's capable. So you can start sending her that message right now. One is relaxing and just you're capable, and I would let her explore. She has the internet. She's a genius on that, right? She can look at all the schools. You don't have to go traveling around. Parents think they have to go to every campus. You don't. You don't have to go to every campus. There was a time people didn't. Now you can do a virtual tour. Yep. By the way, I think there is another statistic where the kids that have gone to all the wonderful tours drop out in the first year. There's something about that. I'm not an expert in that department, remember. But what I can tell you is that one is to relax and just send her the message. You know what? You can figure that out, and you can support her. Mom, what should I do? Well, you're capable. What do you think about? What do you think you want to do? I want to do, what is it, anesthesiology? I want to do this. Well, learn about that. Go online and do a little research. Let the ball be in her court and let her lead. And she will do that. She will surprise you. I bet she will demonstrate how capable that she is. And I would just do whatever you can to not get sucked in and wrapped up to everyone's anxiety. She will turn out just great. Let her surprise you.
What shocks
Save
me
this recording
is
That's
what you
right.
just is what you just said, Louise, about how now you have to pick a major, because when you could go in undeclared 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have always believed that kids should either go to community college for 2 years, get your credits out of the way so you can figure out who you are, as opposed to guessing at who you are and then having to force that version of you into the world before you're ready. I also believe very strongly in kids working from the time they can get a work permit. Learn how to talk to human beings, learn how to serve, learn how to deal with money. All of those things, in my opinion, are so important, not only to build character, but that will help you figure out what you want to do too.
I wish you raised me.
Another part of that that's really important is a full day's work or a shift that isn't fun. That's just work. Right. And you're bussing stations and you're cleaning up and you're sweeping and you're doing all the tasks at Starbucks that need to get done to make the place somewhere people want to enter. And you're doing sometimes things that you never do in your own home. You know, the kind of cleanup that you've gotten away with not doing. Like, do that kind of work, because once you get out of college, your first job is going to be that. It's going to be everything no one else wants to do. And before you're going to get to do what you want to do, you have to prove that you can do the job that no one else wants to do, and do it consistently and persistently and reliably. And those are the people that advance the most quickly in their careers. That's how you become Pete Buttigieg.
But the core of that is learning to be responsible.
Yeah,
And
of course,
I think-
accountable and responsible.
I think one of the worst words in the English language is chore. You have chores to do.
It's just work.
Because the connotation is very negative, and you have, I don't know what you would call it, but we would just, say, well, you're part of the family, and this is what you do to support the family, to help us to contribute, and it's not, and I never use the word chore, because I hated it, and we never had allowances. I don't know whether I was wrong in doing that or not.
Well, then who mucked the stables?
I would.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to know. What did you use besides chores? You just said this is how you contribute. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is something you can do.
Yes.
To
He called
be
it
part of the
forced
family.
labor.
Forced labor.
Be part of the
I'd
family,
love to.
but it teaches responsibility when you get then when you get out of the home and you have to do what Louise is talking about, then that gives you a sense of responsibility, and because you're not really doing it so Starbucks will look good. You're doing it so the manager won't yell at you. Essentially.
Or
May I add to
hopefully,
that?
eventually, you're doing it because you're at a point of moral development where you're doing it because that is what you expect of yourself.
Yeah,
take
you want to take
pride
pride
in
in what
it.
you
Yeah.
do.
Yes,
I
Link.
think, as a former Starbucks barista, I think another
Can you
key-
get me a latte?
yeah, I think another key part is it also teaches you empathy in a way that a lot of other stuff doesn't, and it's like very obvious when someone never had a service job.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
and so like even for that, I'm thankful of it. Just like recognizing when you're in everyday life and you like encounter, slow service or something, you have empathy for everyone that's just doing the jobs around you, trying to fill in, and that is like as valuable, I think, as learning the responsibility is.
Right, learning what's involved and that the whole world isn't there to wait on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute,
You know,
what?
I would love to add something, if I may, to what you said. It was great what you said. It was just perfect. the best thing, first of all, not everyone, I know this is blasphemous to say, but not every kid needs to go to college.
Wait.
Okay, we
Not
got to shut this thing
so-
down right now.
so-
we got to shut down this podcast.
Podcast.
Not college is not for every kid, and I love what you said, Lisa, about let a kid explore, let him go to community college, let him take some time off, let him go to Europe, whatever. Exactly. But chores, you know what? I don't know if your kids have regular chores at all, but the best thing you could do for your kids, for your 16-year-old, for your 10-year-old, for your 11-year-old, is I'm telling you to give them daily, and you call them whatever you want, contributions. Do not pay for them. They should get allowance because they're part of the family.
That's right.
They can get extra money for painting the house, but chores are the only way that
Painting the house.
They have
whatever.
to paint it the right
but
color,
listen,
though.
or
They
for
can't just-
edging or
they
something.
can't just paint it.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you something.
When you're not home.
Chores are the only way that a child can make a contribution. They're consumers right now. The
I know.
only way they can contribute is by chores, regular
right.
chores consistently. That's where your self-esteem comes from. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to come from, you're so wonderful and you made another home run.
I agree.
It's not the way to do
When
it.
my son was 7 and he was rebuilding the transmission in our Toyota.
Yeah, we know
You
you're
want
one
to
of
be
geniuses.
to be
Okay,
one of his-
Jamie.
one of his
makes
chores.
us,
That
what
was
makes
one of
us
his
feel
chores.
the best is to be a contributing member of society, and it can
Absolutely.
start in the home with a little
boy.
kid.
It's the only place to start.
We're going to take a commercial break. Why? Because we have some wonderful and fascinating commercials. Enjoy.
right.
We love our sponsors.
Did you know that a man once jumped into a bulletproof window so much that he busted it out of the
Unveiling.
frame and fell to his death? I do. Hey, I'm Nicholas Howe, and I made an improvised comedy storytelling podcast about this death and many others. Using a multiverse of me's as the catalyst, I explore the various ways people have died. I also have special guests on and freak them out about how dangerous the world is. Did you know lakes can explode?
We
You do
sound
now.
better than
Listen
that.
to the How Will I Die podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at HWIDIEPOD.
God, do your duty! Right, let me just get my sword out.
Meet Got Ironball, bodyguard for hire and ward to Minister Trike.
Smiling faces have a tendency to bleed together with me. I do like the breaking doors down bit, though.
How Trike earned his loyalty, we'll never know.
If this don't work, we can go back to the plan where you cry and I'll get you ice cream. Very well.
You can hear Got Ironball and his exciting adventures in the upcoming radio comedy, Magus Elgar. Visit MagusElgar.com to download your copy today.
What names do you give at Starbucks when they ask you for your name? Do you give them your real name?
I say Louise, and then I get a panoply of spellings
Yes.
that are kind of fun. My favorite was R-U-I-Z.
Ruiz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love
say
that.
Angela.
Oh.
Oh, Angela.
Should I have a Starbucks name?
lovely.
Like, I was thinking maybe...
I do Thor. I say Thor.
You say
God,
Thor?
God of Thunder. And,
I love
and
that.
they go, Thor, and I'll look over and I'll go,
I love that.
Oh my
and they go,
God.
God of Thunder.
Wow.
Thank you. All right, Dina wants to talk about a term I read for the first time yesterday, and I love it. I love word mashups. This is sharenting. Sharenting,
Yes.
the idea that oversharing is becoming passé. Click on the link if you would, gentlemen. One day, all this will be embarrassing. So they're saying that it's now a thing where we're noticing that parents overshare photos of their kids, but I think it's kids get to a certain age where they're done with parents sharing images of them. And so that's what I kind of want to ask you guys. Like, is it passé, or is every kid different, or do children reach an age where they don't want to be a part of your feed anymore because they're pushing against you to create their own identity? Like, how are your kids with
Well,
sharing?
Alessandro will overpost things about himself on my Facebook, and it's embarrassing for me because I'll go on Facebook like at 11 o'clock at night. What?
How does he get on your Facebook?
What are you talking
Page
about?
to post
He
it.
knows how to do it.
He's got your login.
Why would you give him
got
your
my son.
login?
What do you mean? It's just on the app. I don't know.
When Alessandro
All right.
was like 4 years old, he would go through my phone and he'd go to the app store and he'd watch the little video about the game and be like, nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope. Like,
So
wow, he knows what he wants.
Okay,
He
so
doesn't
he
think
posts things on your
He
Facebook.
does. And there was a time where it was like, dude, what are you doing? 11 o'clock at night, I'd be going, seeing what's going on because everybody's asleep or whatever. And I'm like, what? My son's he's calling right now. Look.
Is that him?
He's calling right now.
So cute.
He's listening. He's
Stop talking about me.
Sandro.
Don't talk about me without showing my headshot.
So there were like 4 or 5 pictures of my son. Isn't he great? And he would write this elaborate stuff, or he would, before he could spell, he would sound it in, right? He'd be like, "My son is so amazing," and whatever. And then some of my friends were like unfollowing me, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I realized he was just posting stuff on himself. So if you look back at my history, you'll see a bunch of stuff that he actually did.
Really funny.
He's ready to be married because that's what married men do to their wives.
Is that it?
Yeah. They walk by their computer and they're
Italian.
like, "Oh my gosh, Sharon is married to the most wonderful man in the world." And then all the comments are, "Jeremy, step away from the computer."
Yeah. So anyway, back to sharenting.
Oh, Sharenting. So how does Garrett? He's still cool with it, right?
Yeah, I don't share a ton of stuff. I'll do like if we're on vacation or one picture here and there. I don't do tons of it, and I don't. You don't
overdo
really,
it.
because
on
on June 10th there were 3.
Right. And on Instagram, I've never posted a picture of him at all because I figured that's just my own
Professional
personal thing. And one day he'll have his own Instagram, and I don't want to represent him in any way. I guess that's how I differentiate. Instagram is public for me, so I don't post anything about him. Facebook is only people I've chosen, so I'll post occasionally, but I don't do tons and tons because I think it would bother him. I just do the big.
Do your kids need to see the photo before they approve the post?
Always.
Yes,
full
pretty
approval
much.
rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially when he's doing it himself.
So Jamie,
Exactly.
so Jamie, you went through all your kids' entire childhoods, and technology became a thing kind of like in the middle of their childhoods. And
Yeah.
So did they go through different phases, like teenage?
MySpace. Well, Haley immediately had a MySpace.
But did they go through phases where it was
And-
no longer okay for you to include them, and then come out of it in their 20s where it's like, fine,
Well,
I'm posing
we
with
just
my
had a
dad?
conversation, and we decided that it probably wasn't prudent to be Facebook friends because we talked to each other on the phone and we talked to each other in person.
Is that how they put it?
No, that's how we talked about it. I mean, it was.
Did Coach K help them with that phrasing?
It was emotional.
Dad,
It
I
was-
see you in real life.
Yeah, I don't need to. Well, that's kind of almost
And
it.
I'm going to be seeing other dads.
It's kind of like my kids were different. I mean, it was I would open a storybook to read them a story, and they'd say, "No voices tonight, okay, Dad?" And I do all these voices, and I couldn't do any of my voices.
They just wanted their
And
dad.
They just wanted me.
Oh, they wanted their
Yes.
dad's voice, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
well,
so
no, they actually
honest.
wanted Mom to read to them.
Okay.
Garrett just says, "Can I
boyfriend."
not hear your voice?"
And-
Period.
And yeah, so we do post. I do post stuff if we have a family get together on Facebook, but not on Instagram.
Right.
So do fans of Haley know who her dad is and know that her dad's a comedian? Like, how much do people know?
When Sarah and I are together, we've had people come up to us and say, "Are you Haley Kyoko's parents?" Maybe because I'm wearing this hat.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it. I'm just saying.
And it says, "I'm the dad" on the back.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Ask me.
Totally
It says,
made this
ask me
awesome
about
kid.
Haley Kiyoko.
I will say one of my most
1-800.
favorite Facebook posts, and I think we did it 2 or 3 times, were 2 or 3 Friday nights in a row. Garrett and I made dessert together in the kitchen, and he wanted to do it to post live and answer questions and that kind of thing. And that truly was so much fun. It was so much fun. I
Yes.
actually
You
really
were doing
wanted
it
to do
together.
it again. We were doing it
Now, that's
together.
a good use of the internet.
And he was
Absolutely.
in charge of it. He picked what he wanted to make. I was mostly filming him, and that was really fun.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
cool.
very cool.
I think parents just need to be aware of the fact that things could change at any moment. And
Yes.
like at any moment, a child that is completely happy or has no opinions on their photos or their likeness or their stories or their, moments, whatever, being on their parents' social media, all of a sudden will be like, no, I'm done. I want to control the narrative. I don't want you to post every little thing that happens. Like Ryder, he's asked me, like we'll take a photo and he'll be like, post that on Facebook. And I'm like, why do you even care? You don't look at my Facebook page. You don't know, like, you wouldn't know like how many likes or comments or whatever it gets. But he's just like, that should go on Facebook.
I think the key is, and I'm not Coach K, but I'm going to play her in this next answer. I think the key is respecting their wishes with trying not to feel personally stung if they suddenly change. It's them inventing themselves. It's not a rejection.
Don't take it personally.
Right, right. It's
and Instagram is
tell me about it.
Instagram is now saying that they want to take the likes away. That there will be the inability to like. Do you know about this?
Oh, I'm so grateful for an inability to like.
So you won't be able to. You'll be able to
so
turn
sick
it
of liking
on
people.
and off, and most of like the cool kids will probably have it off.
Well, the kids don't use the
Kids use
Facebook
Instagram, but they
anymore.
don't use Facebook.
But they use Instagram.
But I mean,
and you can love on Instagram, right?
No, but I'm saying that Instagram's going to take that feature off.
Yeah. Huh.
So that you don't feel
when, but
bad
it's
if
going to
nobody's
happen.
liking your
Exactly.
stuff.
There should be one where it's like, I feel indifferent about this image. And Lane,
You
what
said
you
that
got?
on my stuff, by the way.
I just don't see the point of that. It seems like the
Of
only
which? Of liking things?
of taking that feature off. It seems like the main interaction of that. You know what I mean? Like what did you just? Then it's just
Then you comment.
a photo blog.
Yeah,
No,
it's a
they're
way
you
gonna
can comment.
They're going to
Yeah, but
allow
who's commenting on-
conversation.
It's a way of
You
reaching
so
out.
pretty. You so pretty. You
But
so
like,
pretty.
What? How much can you actually talk
Do
about
you-
like a picture of a scone?
Do you
know?
still
That's
lean-
why you like it. And then
Lane,
you just
do you
keep
feel like
going.
it'll
That's a
take
good
away
point.
from the experience if you look at a popular photo and like you're not able to like see exactly how many people
react or reciprocate?
Yeah, maybe it's just like my horrible millennial brain is like needs the
Reassurance,
rush.
yeah.
Of,
But
like,
you
clicking
know-
the like button.
You know when you go
But it-
through, you're like, da-da, da-da, da-da,
Yeah.
da-da.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything,
Yeah,
right?
but I
So
think
I think that's
people
part of
know
it,
that.
but
And so I don't know how many people get. I'm sure there's people that get upset when they don't get a lot of likes, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Lisa
like,
gets very
at
upset.
least
So angry.
from people, I feel like we all kind of like know that it's not. Like I don't know.
Let's-
Maybe we
let's-
don't. Maybe that's just.
It really
me,
depends
but
on your
it
friend
depends on
group
the
and
friend
what
group,
what
yeah.
they do, because I would think that with a bunch of teenage girls, they're all just liking each other's photos because they know that if they don't, someone will feel bad, and they'll look at everyone who liked it, and you're missing. If you're missing, you're in trouble.
And I'm sure they like strategically
So it's
like
me-
stuff and don't like stuff.
So things become.
Yeah, I'm sure
and
that
sometimes
gets-
they'll do it just to make a point.
Yeah, I think I'm like just over that hump where it's like now we're just like like I'm gonna it's like I went to college with you, I'll hit like because I'm bored and like I'm at work.
Well, there was a learning curve for me, definitely, just not getting, not having it as a child.
Right.
At one point, I thought LOL was lots of love.
Oh, so did.
And somebody sent something about
Poor
a
thing.
funeral notice, and I responded LOL. And then I found out that it was laugh out loud.
Was my face red?
And boy, was the corpse's face red. That's right. But let's all admit what Facebook and all that social media is really. I saw a cartoon.
What is it, Jamie?
I saw a cartoon today of somebody with like a doggy bag pouring F's, like Facebook F's, into a bowl that had the word ego on it. And that's really all it is feeding our egos. But
Somebody
there's nothing
went to
wrong with that.
philosophy college.
There's nothing wrong with that. Really, there's nothing wrong with it. We
Right.
can feed our Siddhartha.
Well, we all
paid for philosophy.
Well, we all do a
classes.
thing because we want, not just because we want to do the thing, but because we want to be recognized by our peers as being good at doing the thing. And, it's interesting to me that when you sit and watch a movie, you like the song at the ending credits. So you may sit there because you want to hear the song.
Mm-hmm.
But all those people's names are on it. Like, people built this house. I love this house and live in it. No one got to sign it. So it's like social media gives everyone a chance to have their name in the credits, like to get
That's
some
right.
recognition, and that's
Feeding the
human.
ego. Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't always question it or think that we're weak because we need it.
Well, but
We're human.
But
I'm not saying we're
Yeah.
weak. I'm just acknowledging what it is.
I think it is completely changing the way our brains work and what we expect of people and what we, I famously got off of social media for 9 or 10 months.
Famously?
Oh my gosh, it's in all the papers.
Everybody was talking
you were
about
conspicuous
it.
with your
The
absence.
talk of the town.
Exactly. No, but I got off of it for a while because I went to therapy and I said I'm having problems getting out of bed in the morning and things are okay in my life and I don't know what's going on. And we traced it to my social media and how I was comparing myself to everyone. I'm seeing people, cooking with their kids or on a beautiful vacation or, working more than me or on and on and on, or they look better than I do, or they've lost weight, or whatever it is.
Getting out of bed.
Getting out of bed.
People got out of bed.
And I, as my therapist described it, he said, you are living vertically and only looking at the people above and below you when you should be living horizontally.
In bed.
And I can't get out of bed. I've already listened to your advice.
Wait, what's horizontal living?
I can't get out of bed in the morning.
Instead of
My sheets
only
are too
seeing
tight.
who's better or worse than you, you're seeing everything evenly. It's just
so there's
picture.
parity. There's parity. We're all humans.
We're all living.
We've all been given a body, and we're a soul occupying that body.
Yes.
And so there's no. I know that the world sometimes is designed to make us believe that we're in competition. But what if the whole point of being alive is to figure out that we're not?
Absolutely.
Yes.
But,
then I'm done.
That we're collaborating.
But
How
then
about
what's
that?
happening now is doing everything in its power to negate that. You know what I mean? And even, I'm on my Peloton every day and there's a whole community there. And there's a leaderboard.
Wait, what's a Peloton?
It's a
bike.
stationary bike with a ton of classes and whatever. We're going to do a
You
whole
didn't tell
show
me you
about it.
had
I'm going to
one.
make you a whole show about it.
That's a spinning class.
It's in your
product
home
placement?
though. Yeah, but this is getting far off the topic. But there's a leaderboard, so you're seeing who you're riding with and who's ahead of you and who's behind you and all that stuff. And a lot of the instructors will say, turn the leaderboard on its side. We're all riding together. And that's the same concept,
what a
obviously.
nice
So,
person.
but getting off of social media really helped my psyche because I truly was thinking that everybody was doing better at life than me.
Well, that's
No.
like every summer. I dread the summers because everyone's off doing this, that, and the other. Kids are at camp, and we're off in Europe, and I'm like, I am just a loser.
Right.
I'm in
Staycation.
Sherman Oaks. Yeah.
Staycation, though. There's nothing wrong with that.
Working and. So what's wrong with me? It does. I get depressed.
Absolutely.
And I remember this summer I started thinking, dang it, it's the summer. Now I'm gonna have to sit and watch everybody have a good time.
But may I say something that I know I am very, very happy in my life, and I look
for
at
you,
people in other. Well, but it's rather than looking at them and thinking that they're happier. Obviously, they need to get away from their life. I don't need to get away from my
Good
life.
point.
I'm very happy where I am.
That's a good
I
way
have
of framing
been
it.
to the Caribbean. I've been to Tahiti. I've been to Alaska.
Have you ever been to me?
No, I had not yet.
A lot of people
not
do,
yet,
yeah.
baby. But one day. So, well, listen. Her therapist told her to get horizontal. Exactly. So, I'm doubting the
But
veracity
what I was
here.
going to say is if in the past, before Facebook and Instagram and all of that,
Yeah.
when you would just say, we just got back from Hawaii. Oh my God, that's amazing. How was it? You're sharing this experience with a friend that you're happy for because they just got back from Hawaii.
Right.
Right?
Unless they invite you over to look at the slides.
Well, but I actually like looking at people's
I
vacation
do too.
pictures
Brought me a
when we're
skirt.
together. But then you're hearing about it, you're involved. When you're just staring at these endless pictures
I
of
see what you're
their
saying.
lives, I
Right.
think it affects you differently. I really do.
Does it seem,
Coach K?
does
I
it seem
think you're right.
unreal? Does it seem
I'd
unreal?
love to chime in on it.
I,
Yeah.
let's hear
Oh
from
yeah.
Coach K? What-
Coach
K.
K. We're ignoring Coach
You
K.
guys
No,
start-
that's okay.
Coach
I'm
K,
just
start
listening.
interrupting
the rest
us.
of the show.
I'm taking it. I'm listening. I'm finding the right moment.
Okay.
Lisa, you're saying so many great things.
Coach
that
K.
Yeah.
I'm just telling it like it is.
That's why she's here.
I know. The best thing a parent can do for their kid, and I know I have clients, they don't want to hear this and they'll say to me, my son is really depressed, or he's moody, or he's anxious, or he's this, or he's rude, and I said, you want me to help you? And they say yes, and they're desperate. And I say, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you need to take his phone away. You need to turn off Fortnite. You need to take him off social media. But that's how he stays connected. No, that's how he's staying disconnected and disconnected from the family. And this is not going to happen through parents are the only ones that can do this right now. And if all you can do, and I know, and saying all you can do, it's a big task in your own home, unplug. Just have the courage to say, no. Can I post this? No, you know what you can do? You can go outside and you can take a walk. You can open a book. I know that parents don't want to hear this right now, but I had one father say to me, and I felt for him because he said, I want my kid to go outside more. I said, okay. Well, but he doesn't want to get off the computer. Say, nobody wants to get off the computer. Try getting your wife off Facebook. He had a complaint about that too. I said, an adult has trouble extricating themselves from Facebook. It's 2 a.m. and they take the phone to bed and You think your 12-year-old can just go, well, Dad, thanks a lot. When you brought it up and put it that way, I think I'm going to turn it off now. It's not going to happen.
It makes a lot of sense to
but
me.
it's not going to happen. So parents have to have the courage to say, you know what? I love you too much to let whatever the wording you want it to be. I love you too much. And he said, but that's the way. So I said, what do you want? Do you want your kid to go outside? But that's all this is how he's not social at school and he connects with Fortnite. I go, you know what? He needs to get new friends then. And I know that sounds really harsh, but watch what happens when you unplug. Is he going to have a meltdown? Oh, you bet he's going to have a meltdown. He is going to have it. And you're going to have to write it out and take him to archery or go hike somewhere. And I have had so many parents say that their kids have turned around, really said to them, thanks a lot. I couldn't, it makes me cry. Thanks a lot. I couldn't, I didn't know how to do that for myself.
Wow. I have a suggestion.
You know?
We do this every week. Sunday is no phones, no friends. No phones, no friends.
No phones.
And it's always been that since they were babies.
Oh,
so
no phones, no friends. It's family day.
It's family day. No electronics till the sun goes down. In the summer, it's longer. Till the sun goes down, till after dinner, whatever it's going to be. And I don't go on my phone either, so you can't even find me.
That.
You don't go on your phone either?
No.
You get the award because so many times they're going to turn off.
Once a week.
It's like the Sabbath. It's like a Saturday.
So Monday through Friday is, sports and things, and we're running around and whatever. Saturday games and whatever. Sunday, no phones, no friends.
Love it.
All right, I have a question for the panel. Do you monitor what your kids watch on YouTube, or does it concern you that one video leads to the next, and you look over and your kid is watching an ISIS recruiting video?
Jesus.
Because I don't have a kid.
Or that.
Jesus,
I don't have a kid, so I don't know what happens, but I do know what happens to me when I watch a music video and then it plays the next one and the next one and the next one, and then you're like, I'm really not that into Kenny Chesney, but okay. So
here I am.
So Dina, you're the one with the youngest kid. Like, do you let that process happen, or can you turn it off where it won't just play the next one?
I don't. Okay, so maybe I'm a bad mom. I'm happy to admit that if
We're
that's
not
the
judging.
case.
We're not judging.
but
I'm judging a little.
Yes.
Linda is definitely judging.
Just a tiny.
Ribbit.
I don't monitor what Ryder watches on YouTube. I have like the parental stuff on, so that nothing like really crazy is ever gonna. That I think will ever.
That's what you think, yeah.
But here's the thing: is I don't want there to be a situation where Ryder's like, oh wait, so this is okay, and then this isn't okay. So now I'm starting to understand that there's like these levels of things that. I want to like, they're like deliciously like forbidden and like, what's not okay about this? I'm kind of like more interested in that now, and I'm happy to talk to him about anything. So when he comes to me, he knows a lot of stuff from YouTube, and he comes to me and talks to me about the things he watches, and we have very frank conversations. There's really nothing that I say like, I'm not going to talk to you about this. But I never want him to feel like there's forbidden things that are going to kind of, just like take him into, like, I want him to feel like he has access to whatever he wants.
There's things that I can't watch today as a current adult that are too disturbing. So when I was a kid, if someone said to me, it's not for kids, I heard that because I knew that somebody knew what my tastes were and what I would find too disturbing or too distressing. And so is it girl? Is that more of a female thing to say like, all right, I got you.
I say it to Garrett.
And is he good with that? Like, I don't want to see something that my mom knows is going to keep me up at night.
Now listen, does he watch things that are probably not inappropriate, that are probably inappropriate? Yes, he does. I know that he does. He also
Breaking Bad would be one of them.
No, he'll also come to me and say, "I just saw this. Can you, and we'll talk about it.
Walk me through
Help
it."
me unsee
it. There are things that I've heard him sing or that he's asked me to see, or certain movies or whatever, and I'm like, buddy, first of all, no, you're 11. You will absolutely get to watch that in 3 or 4 years. But until then, your brain's not ready for it. And it will give you nightmares or it will make you sick or whatever. And he knows that because I think I've established this trust with him. I'm not going to say it just to say it.
I know you, Garrett.
But I know you, and absolutely not.
And
And he'll go,
talking
okay, I'm glad you said that.
Like The Good Dinosaur or something
oh,
like that.
God, he can never, because it'll make me so sad.
Yes.
Alessandro usually tells me that I'm watching something inappropriate and could I turn it off. So like the other night, seriously, I was watching the very last part of Shameless because it's the last season dropped or whatever.
Everything's inappropriate
What's
about
a shame is that I thought he was asleep, and finally, he was like laying in the bed. I thought he had fallen asleep, and I look over, he was snoring, and he came out of the snore, and he's like, "Can you turn this off? I think it's inappropriate."
That's when you say, "Can you get out of my friggin' bed and go into your own?"
I mean,
that's another issue.
We know why he's there.
A writer is like so aware of like what it like if we're watching something on TV and people are like starting to make out, he like covers his eyes. Like I know that I'm not supposed to be seeing
boys,
that.
so that's the mushy stuff.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. But I mean, he
I
doesn't
do that.
watch like.
Don't let him watch The Bachelorette.
I do that in Outlander.
Horrifying.
I can't watch it.
So there's
I was just gonna say that, Linda, that happened to me because my dad loved like true crime. He still does, and we bonded over it when I was older. But when I was younger, he would stay up late, and I'd be in bed, and he would have the TV on, and I'd be trying to sleep, and it'd be like, "They found her body in the river." I'm just like shaking in my bed. And I'm like, "Dad, you have to turn it down." I'm terrified.
Yeah.
But
This is not
now
soothing.
I love it. So I don't. Maybe
That explains a lot.
that.
Oh my
explains
God.
it.
May I add something here?
Kate.
I'd love to add something. That was very funny, by the way.
That is hysterical.
You asked me in the beginning, what are parents, what mistakes? And I appreciate what you said about not wanting there to be a forbidden fruit. And I understand that. But I want to add that it's, your children, and they're so honest. Mom, that's not appropriate, or covering their eyes. The thing that's missing is leadership in parenting today. Parents are in relationship with their kids. It's like they're equals. Well, what does he want? I'm going to let him. They need really solid leaders. And I would suggest, may I suggest something to you?
Absolutely.
That you absolutely have controls on that.
Right. Yeah.
And that it's that there are things that are forbidden fruit, and they better be.
Yeah. Well, definitely in terms of things that are horrible, vile, violent and, inappropriate for like any human being, like that's not any kind of content that he's ever been allowed to watch. And I'm definitely not like blasé about that.
Is he watching this now? Is he listening?
No, he's in the room and
He's
Teresa's
watching
not
YouTube.
here.
I get a little intense on this because I just want to add. I get a little intense because, I am a hover when it comes to the electronic. We don't know, and every kid's different. Every personality, right? So you don't know what kid. I guess it's 8 years old that most boys discover, and girls. I think it's 8 now. They discover porn by accident, and most parents, when they look in hindsight, they usually wish they did something. So if I could really say anything to parents right now is, don't just get your head out of the sand and know that things come up accidentally. There's pop-ups. Do not have electronic media in the bedroom ever. If I could tell a parent to do one thing, if I can, make one suggestion, it's never, ever have it in their bedroom because you can't see what's going on. And plus it keeps them awake at night. They're addicted. I mean, a lot of kids are very addicted. We know that. We're addicted. But I think that we're dealing with something that we've never dealt with before. When I was growing up, it was, the magazines that were behind a counter. But today you have, do you want to watch Pokemon or porn? What do you want to, it's like, that's,
right.
I'm saying that these things come up.
Yeah.
And by the way, that industry, they want to get to young people.
The Pokemon porn industry.
The Pokemon porn industry. They want to get to young people.
I thought that's the industry you're talking
But
about.
I think, but
thank you.
it's not that you walk around going, "Oh my gosh, don't turn it on," because you're hysterical. But it's just that leadership of, "Can I go? Oh no, why? Because that's not good for you right now." And when kids know where you stand, they know where they stand, and they relax.
But isn't it important to say it's not appropriate, rather it's appropriate right now? Let's do something else. Just
sure, you can replace it with
shift
something.
the focus.
That's terrific. You can do that. You can say, "Let's go take a walk," or "Let's watch." But if I want to go on this website, no, why not? And I understand parents have that anxiety of, "Oh, I don't want to say no because it's taboo." And but you have to
say you're not ready to see that.
And kids relax because they want you to draw the boundaries. They don't know how to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
They need you to say, something that's not acceptable. Why? Because I know what's best for you. And I'm not, look at when they're older, when they're 14, you can have conversations about, but when they're 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, it's really perfectly fine. And even 12 to just say, it's not happening today, Hunter. Sorry.
By the
Boy,
way,
this Hunter gets in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
I know.
Hunter.
He's
Sounds like
my
Hunter's-
go-to name. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
it's also, I think, setting them up for their future. I mean, I feel the same way about food, and I know we've discussed this before, but Mom, can you get me Lucky Charms? You know what? Yeah,
Why do I
I
get
will.
the
I
same
will get it
thing?
for you this time. And then when he asks again, I go, "No, I'm not a mom that wants to buy you Lucky Charms, buddy. Here's how much sugar is in
Yes.
it. I
Yes.
know I did it for you before. I will do it again. It is not happening every month, though.
And if you set
to me,
boundaries,
that's a boundary, but I'm also not cutting him off from it, so that when he does get out of my house, he's shoveling, marshmallows.
That's
in his
exactly
face.
right.
you
Your
can
parents,
set,
yeah,
if,
you're
when
right.
you set boundaries for your kids, it's teaching them to set boundaries for themselves because their childhood is like a minute long, and then they're on their own. So they have to know how to do it. Like, this isn't good for me.
Right.
That kind of
then
kind of
it's also
statement. Like
good-
it's healthy to just
God,
say,
I loved Lucky Charms.
I'm not bringing that
too. I
into the
loved them too.
house, and then you're free
good, right?
to not have to worry about eating it because
Right.
it's not
Right.
here.
Right.
Well, I have to add, the Lucky Charm. Did you see? I just saved the charms on the side with the mouth. Did you do that too?
Yes.
But I want to add. Parents, the ones that I coach, they are so committed to their kids not having gluten or this, and I say if you can shift a little bit of that commitment from the you're not going to have this, you're not going to have that, food to the electronic media, and just
Right.
have just even a little bit of boundaries, right? Just not having it in the room. At least you can see, hey, what are you doing? They're not alone in there.
Yes.
So I just
that's all.
want to draw a line, and I think Coach K, you might agree with this. From the conversation we're having now and talking about parenting, which we were a little bit earlier, I think that we all have to acknowledge that we're all like in uncharted territory, right?
you're
so we
correct.
have these kids who are. I mean, I'm only 27, and
Me too.
I think everyone in this room is.
In my head, I am.
And I didn't. The stuff that Ryder is growing up with now, that there wasn't even like a glimmer of that when I was a kid.
Right.
But I'm dealing with since the day he was born. I've posted a photo of him on Facebook and have been doing it ever since. So it's like as parents, we have to check in with ourselves and evaluate our own relationship with the internet, with technology and social media, and then put some boundaries up with ourselves.
Right, which
Do
brings
that,
us to
yeah.
what's Twitter trending because it
Okay.
addresses
All
this
right, here we
very
go.
topic.
Oh, nice
What's Twitter
segue.
trending under the hashtag parenting is this tweet from Mindshift,
Wow.
which reads, parents are constantly present in their children's lives physically, but they are less emotionally attuned. That's bad for the responsive hashtag communication, so important to child development. So I'm going to ask this question of the panel. How do you resist your temptation to check your own screens when your kids need and are expecting your attention? Do we have more eye contact with our screen than we have with our children? And is one of the reasons we're letting them have so much screen time is because we want screen time?
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that I am on my phone far too much in front of my kid, and I'm really trying to start to curb that. However, I am also trying, and I hope this is answering that. Garrett likes to go outside a lot, and I love it, and I'm trying to encourage it. And a lot of times now lately, before my husband gets home, he'll say, "Can you come out and throw the ball with me?" And my instinct is to always go, "No, I have dishes to do," or "No, I'm about to make dinner." But I'm really trying to say yes a lot now because what I've realized is we're usually out there between 25 and 35 minutes. Nobody looks at their phone. We're throwing a ball back and forth, and the conversations that happen
Yeah.
are
Perfect.
magical. Sometimes I literally just want to break down and cry because I can't believe it's happening. So,
That's great.
and I know he's just on that precipice of becoming a teenager. And so this is a very precious thing that I'm being allowed to experience. And so I would say to that the best way to do it is kind of what you hinted out before, Jamie, is find something else to do. And if it's something physical, that's the best possible thing.
Boys are most likely to have a real conversation with you while engaged in an activity. So even if it's just if you throwing little rolled up pieces of paper into turn it into some sort of game, and do some sort of physical activity with a boy, and they will open up and start talking.
I don't know if
I'd
you
love to-
guys agree with this, but I found, and some of my mom friends have also found that some of the most intense conversations we have with our kids are when we're driving.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because when mom or dad is driving, we're hopefully
not on your phones.
Right. Focused on the road and not, distracted by our devices.
But then you got to make them put down their devices in the car.
That's funny.
Right. But that's that's always been the place that writers like asking me, questions. We get into like these deep discussions and debates. That I think when I was a kid too, like that's where my mom and I had like those kind of discussions, because in that moment, like the parent is focused on what they're doing, so they can also focus on some, and I, not just with kids, like I think, the car is a place where a lot of people have important discussions.
Well, some of the most intense conversations I have ever had with my children were in the car, but they were driving. And boy, did it get intense. I'll tell you.
Terrifying.
From like 6 years of age, 7.
My God.
They can't reach the pedals.
That's scary.
There's always something to talk about.
And they made it. They
Always
important
something to
conversation.
talk about. It is an important conversation.
I want to
Louise.
thank everyone for being
You're
with
right.
us
Really? Still?
in the booth. Well, yeah. Michael and Lane. I want to thank Dina Friedman, Coach K, Katherine Saltzberg, Linda Brown. World famous.
It's hard to do all that.
Yeah, it's hard to go name.
Downtown Linda Brown.
In stand-up comedy, you just have to say the name of one person and hope that you get it right.
I'm
But,
Lisa Arch.
I went from Linda, like Catherine, like do I call you Kate or Catherine? And then I actually paused when I got to Linda Brown, whose name is like all one thing.
Downtown
Even her
Linda
kids call her Linda Brown. They do. They don't say mom. They just say Linda Brown.
Brown. Is Dana ready?
Lisa Arch, Jamie Alcroft, and I want to thank Bill Filipiak, John Maddox.
Bill.
I am Louise Palenker, and
Bill.
next week we have another exciting show
Bye,
for you.
Bill.
Thank you for joining us. We
Enjoy this.
appreciate you.
Thank you, our kids.